Hello everyone, I'm your IELTS tutor Jack, and welcome to another episode of the IELTS Plus English podcast. Today's topic is climate change, so very topical, very serious topic as well, one that I think I'm going to have quite a lot to say about. Quite a tricky handout today. I'm looking through it now. There's 10 words and phrases which are not easy, so please access that at my website www.jacks-english.com or go to my Naver Cafe if you're here in Korea, and you can search for Yongguk Yongo Jack's English and you'll find my cafe. I interact with students a lot there. So as I said, not easy. Please download that handout and get studying. These are going to be very useful for today's topic. So let's get straight into some part one. Do you believe that climate change is a serious problem? Yes, I do believe it's a very serious problem. I can't really tell you much about the facts and statistics, but personally, I can feel that certainly over the last 10 or 15 years, the temperature has got warmer, the summers are hotter, and the winters we just get so much less snow, unfortunately, because I'm a huge fan of snow. So yes, I would say it's a serious problem, and we're seeing a lot of the effects around the world. Okay, I'm not particularly happy with that answer. The reason is it was very sort of my experience and my opinion, whereas I think I could have been a bit more fact-based and maybe talked about, the ozone layer, what the government's doing, reducing carbon emissions, using some of those key words. That would have been better. Anyway, let's try another one. What causes climate change? Well, the key cause of climate change are greenhouse gases. Obviously, the main one is CO2, carbon dioxide, and this comes from the factories, particularly, certainly what I can see is the energy generating factories that use coal. They put a lot of CO2 into the air, and then on top of that, we're cutting down the trees, which is deforestation, and that's getting rid of the thing that removes carbon dioxide from the air. So those, I would say, are the two key reasons for climate change. Good, okay, I was a bit stricter then. I used some more key words and phrases, so hopefully you could catch that. I mentioned deforestation, by the way. Deforestation is the removal of forests. Let's do a part two. No more warming up, straight into part two. 2 minutes on the clock. And let's see. I think this is going to be a hard one. I haven't prepared. I think this is going to be hard. So let's see how I do. 2 minutes on the clock. Firstly, describe an environmental problem or event in your country. Okay, I'm going to go with England, by the way. So 2 minutes on the clock. Let's start now. I think I'd like to tell you about the problem in England, which is increased flooding. When I was young, it was quite rare to hear news about flooding. There were the odd events, maybe sometimes in winter where you get sustained rainfall. There were sometimes some events, or maybe isolated incidents of thunderstorms that caused flooding, but it was fairly rare. Nowadays, it seems like there's just news all the time in England from different areas of the country, and you can see the map of the country and it shows you the warning levels of flooding, and it just always seems that there's some kind of flood warning around the country. Let me tell you a little more about this problem. I don't know when it really started. I suppose it's just gradually increased over time, but particularly where I live, we drive past rivers and some real lowland where, very often you see the rivers have burst their bank, or even just simply the water table is very close to the surface of the ground. So it makes it very difficult for things like gardening, or as being a golfer, it makes it difficult to play golf because the golf courses get shut. I think this is just as a result of climate change, global warming. It's caused a lot more rainfall. I'm not quite sure of why that is. I don't know much of the science behind it, but we definitely need some radical rules and policies set out by the government in order to combat global warming, and therefore that will combat this extra rainfall, which is causing such a problem. So as I said, okay. Not easy. Again, I had to kind of bring it into my world in order to feel comfortable, and that is the advice I always give my students is bring it into your world. What do you know about? Don't talk about forest fires if you have no idea about forest fires or you've never experienced it. For me, I've seen the rain. It is an issue near my house, and it is something that affected my golf. So that meant I could speak for like a minute or a minute and a half about my personal experiences. That's so important. I also managed to get a few key words in there like radical and combat. So yeah, I think that was a reasonable answer. I'm quite happy with that. So finally, let's go through some part three questions. What are some of the effects of global warming? I think there are several effects of global warming. Obviously, flooding, which is what I talked about before. We are seeing so much more flooding, not only in my home country where I was born in England, but also where I live now in Korea. Also, we can see more forest fires. This is because of the increased temperature around the world, and also in some parts of the world, they're getting less rainfall. So this is causing more forest fires, wildfires. Apart from that, you're seeing more, dry weather in some areas like deserts, which means that the deserts are expanding. And then in other areas, you're getting more rainfall in wet areas, which is causing more erosion of the soil and, real big changes of the environment. Okay, let's go on to, let's perhaps just do one more. I'm gonna pick a really hard one. I'll pick the last one on my list. Do you think fighting climate change is a governmental responsibility or the responsibility of individuals? Firstly, I would say it's the responsibility of both. We can't just say it's the responsibility of individuals, because then there will be a lot of individuals who don't do things to tackle it. I think the government also has to play a role in it by setting quite radical policies so that we can make changes to our life and therefore make changes to the environment. However, on the individual level, we should be taking more care and paying more attention to our carbon footprint. This means using our car less, riding a bike or walking more, being careful about what the products we use and what we throw away. So I think that's really important for individuals. Okay, that's everything. Obviously, looking at this list of vocabulary, definitely a lot that I didn't use and could have used, solar panels. I think I used ozone layer, inhospitable. There's a lot of words I could have used, but I'm pretty happy with my answers. Remember, all of this is available at jax-english.com, and please make the most of it. We're on episode 9 today. There's 40 episodes in total. Obviously, I'm nowhere near there yet, but this is going to be something for the next 31 weeks. So be involved, listen to me every week. Come and see me on YouTube. If you are watching me on YouTube, thank you, and please leave a like and a little comment below. I'd love to see that. And I hope you're enjoying this. So I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you very soon. Bye bye.